Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and as many of you know, I spend a lot of time throughout the year shooting numerous fashion shows, and a lot of times it can be extremely overwhelming, especially if you've never shot one yourself. Now, a show may last an hour or an hour and a half or so, but it actually takes about 12 hours at least of preparation on the day of these shows. So there's a lot of action going on, a lot of opportunities for you to take photos. So with that said, today I want to share with you some fashion show photography mistakes that you need to avoid. Let's get to it. Today's video is going to be really geared toward those new photographers looking to get into fashion show photography, runway photography, etc. So these are just some common mistakes that I have run into personally, and I've seen others as well. And I want to help you avoid those mistakes that may cost you losing out on the opportunity of capturing those great shots, as well as looking like a newbie. So let's get into it. So I've got a couple notes here on my cell phone of what I thought of are some general mistakes that you need to avoid. So let's get to the first one. The first one is bring enough batteries. That's right. Power is your best friend. 2 is never enough. Bring 3 or even 4 batteries for your camera. A battery pack for your cell phone would be fantastic. I don't know how many times where I was streaming live on a runway show or behind the scenes, and it pretty much killed my battery. Having a rechargeable battery pack for your cell phone or other devices, like let's say a GoPro or something like that that can be charged USB-C, or even your camera nowadays, it's going to be a lifesaver. You do not want to be in the middle of a fashion show and all of a sudden the next collection is about to be showcased and here you are, no extra batteries for your camera. It's happened to me, but luckily I've always brought in at minimum 3 batteries to shows, because shooting behind the scenes and by the time you get to the runway show can deplete half of your battery before you know it. So definitely remember, 3 is 2, 2 is 1, 1 is none. Always think redundancy when it comes to your power. The next one is bringing the right lenses. Not one lens fits them all because of you don't know the size of the venue. You don't know the lighting conditions of the venue. Some productions can afford fantastic, big, huge LED proper lighting of the runway from the front to the back of the runway, and therefore, you almost have your pick of the litter. But for me personally, I think it's safe to bring a 70-200, a 24-70, and 1 prime lens. That will be the safest route to go. Now, when I shoot runway, I generally shoot 2.8, maybe f4, just to ensure that the subject itself is sharp, but also in focus, but also that I have enough compression. If you don't have enough space between you and where the subject stops at the end of the runway, that's why the 24-70 may be handy. I just shot a runway show with the 24-70 to ensure that I can get a full body, a medium shot, and a little bit down the runway shot if I wanted of them walking toward the end of the runway. Now, ideally, I'd rather have a 70-200, but again, it depends on the space between where the photographer pit is, as well as where the model stopped. That will allow you to get a full body, because the full body is what I measure as to whether that focal length is going to work for me on the runway. Now, I bring a prime lens because when I shoot fashion shows, a lot of times I get to be behind the scenes. A prime is great because usually generally I'm using a Nikon Z 50mm f1.2 lens, because I could shoot wide open, get plenty of natural light in there, and keep the feel of the action behind the scene nice and organic and real. Sometimes if I have to, I'll use a flash and then I'll put a Magmod sphere, because I notice with a Magmod sphere, I generally create more of a natural indoor, like a natural lighting situation where it looks like it's being well lit just generally in the space that I'm shooting. But if I try to stay with natural light. So therefore, using a fast prime. If you can't afford a f1.2, don't worry. Just use a f1.8 lens. A 35 or a 50 will be really nice for candid shots. And remember, generally everyone's getting ready, so you're not going to have all the opportunity to set up poses and everything. It's candid, so you want to be a little bit away and give them that space so you're not a creep behind the scenes. So therefore, a 50, I think, generally gives you that as well as really nice compression. So that's why I say bring a nice zoom or and a prime lens. Now, if you can't afford a 70 to 200 f2.8 lens in the camera brand that you use, then I would recommend something like a 24 to 120 or 24 to 105 f4 lens would be a phenomenal everyday all-purpose kind of a lens, and that's really all that you would need. You could use that for behind the scenes as well, but obviously from 1.8 to f4 you're losing a couple of stops of light, and that could make or break if you're shooting in natural light. So again, bring zooms and bring at least one good prime lens is what I'd recommend. So when you go to fashion shows, always think about the lighting. Think about the venue. If you can, research the venue. If you can, if it's like a big production like Art Hearts Fashion, LA Fashion Week, or New York Fashion Week, something like that, they will have on YouTube or social media videos of their shows previously, and you could already see how the lighting is. Now, in fashion show, you tend to get what you get. And depending on the caliber of the production of the fashion show determines how much lighting is already going to be there, like well-lit lighting, and not just good lighting at the end of the runway, but throughout the entire runway. So therefore, research before you go there. Then, if you know it's let's say a local fashion show, you may have to bring your own lighting. And when I do, I tend to bring one good flash. Let's say I've shot in runways with an 8200, right? A Godox 8200, a 200 watt flash. But I've also just recently used my Godox 8600 watt flash. So that's really up to you. You can have a 300, but I would definitely do something from a 200 to a 300 because obviously that's going to determine how much you need to use your ISO and affect your other settings as well. And I would choose a softbox that's less than 36 inches. What I use is a Neewer 17-inch Octa softbox. Now, it's not a large softbox, but it's perfect for lighting up one subject, and it's compact, and it allows other photographers to set up their lighting as well, and without you being a big idiot when it comes to making space for your colleagues. Okay, so you definitely want to be mindful of that. The show is not just about you, your cameras, and your images. It's about also allowing space within the photography pit for others to get their photos as well. Get yourself a good heavy duty tripod. Now I bring one that's like almost like a C-stand just because I've seen people bump into it and everything else and had some weight to it. But all you really need is a good heavy duty tripod that might be around, I want to say $50, right? And then, but make sure it's tall. I would say 13 feet, minimum 9 feet tall would be what I would bring, just in case, so that you can get up high enough. Because again, you won't be the only photographer setting up a flash. All right. Make sure you have a nice wireless trigger. Test it all out before you arrive. All right. Charge it. Charge it. Charge it. Okay, make sure it's well charged the morning of and that you're ready to go. If you can, bring more than one battery. Me personally, I wouldn't do LED lighting because that light would have to be extremely powerful in order for me to be able to freeze motion and get good lighting on the subject, which is filling in all the shadows. You're going to need to draw a lot of energy, okay? That's why most people don't have, or how can I say, most local fashion shows don't have proper lighting because it would cost them a lot of money to do it. So, with all that said, bring a flash. Much easier, much more energy efficient. It'll get the job done. 8200 up to an 8600. I believe you will be just fine. Most important thing is this. Get it off the camera. Get it off the camera. I've seen so many times people come to a fashion show and they shoot an entire show using a speed light attached to their camera, your photos are going to come out so much more, not only better, but I believe more consistent. Because again, those speed lights may be 75 watts. As soon as you get an 8200, you're already almost tripling the amount of power you create. Plus, the angle of lighting is much more natural and pleasant. Get it off the camera. Even if it's a speed light, attach it to a stand, raise it up, make sure it's wireless, use a pocket wizard or something, and then you're good to go. But get it off the camera. All right, so we talked about lighting, we talked about lenses, we talked about power. Let's talk about camera settings. Now, before the runway starts, generally one of us photographers in the pit will stand up where the model will generally stop at the end of the runway, and that's our time we can set up all of our settings that we like, right? We're taking sample pictures. And a lot of times it shows models do a practice runway, like a run through, and practice their walk and stuff like that, and therefore that's another great opportunity for you to dial in your settings. But in general, you want to make sure that you're able to freeze that action and get enough ambient light in the back of the photo. Otherwise, you don't want a photo of her just well lit and it looks like a cave behind him or her. I would generally, at minimum, shoot at 1/250th of a second, but actually I'd raise it up. I would say 400 to 500th of a second would be ideal to freeze that action and as well as get enough ambient lighting going on. That's the range that I would do. Nothing more, nothing less than 250th for sure. Now, when it comes to power and flash, obviously that's going to change depending on the maximum power output of the flash you're using. If you're using a Godox 8200 compared to an 8600, well, clearly the amount of power is going to affect it dramatically. That's why when the models do a run through or one of your colleagues, fellow photographers, go to where the model will be stopping, that's where the power adjustment would go. Your ISO will be probably one of the last things I really want to touch. If anything, to make sure that I get a little bit of light in the background is what I'm adjusting for. I'll set my aperture. It was like, okay, I already know I want f2.8 or f4, right? I generally don't go, I don't stop down more than that. 5.6 or 6.3, you're going to need a tremendous amount of light to flash and get a good, well exposed photo. So I generally stay at 2.8, f4, something like that. Boom. So that's already done. Set it, forget it. Shutter speed, okay, 250th, maybe 400th of a second. Let's just say 1/400th of a second. Cool, set it, forget it. Something like that. Or 320, I think it's 250, 320, it might be 400, but either way, it's around that area. That's what you want to set it. Or 500th of a second at most. Boom. Then all I'm doing now is adjusting the power of the light of my flash and ISO. Those are the only two other things I'm adjusting after that. Everything else is set it and forget it. Shutter speed to freeze. My aperture set for compression, how much I want in focus in my frame, and then ISO and the power of the shot of the flash to make sure she's filled, and as well as that I'm getting a little bit of light in the background. Okay, the next tip is take your time and be patient. When the models are walking down a runway, ideally what I try to go for is one walking shot and then one pose at the end. Now, it doesn't mean I only take 2 photos. All I'm doing is looking for that great walking shot, that one that I know I'm going to get. And that one generally is when the legs are crossing at the ankles. And the clothes, I've noticed time and time again, tend to drape and look really well just at that moment. Now, you can't get it every time, but that's what I'm going for, okay? So you have one walking shot, and then at the end, I want the pose. Generally, they may pose once or twice and then turn back around. So I'm looking for those 2 times at the end, boom, boom, get those, and then boom, at the end, when I deliver, I'm generally looking for one walking shot and one solid pose to deliver to the production company at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, you have to go through all these images, just like a wedding. You could end up with 2,000 photos easy. But guess what? I don't want to go through 2,000 photos, okay? Even though I could do it very fast, I just don't feel like it, all right? So with all that said, when I know what I'm looking for, then I'm shooting with a purpose. I'm shooting with intent. I'm looking for that shot. Boom, I got it. I feel great about it. I've never had complaints about the photos I've shot on the runway when I approach it this way. And therefore, I'm not swallowing up my card. And I'm definitely not going to be killing my time later in post-production, just shooting and, spraying and praying. All right. The last mistake I want you to avoid is to deliver what you promised. That's right. Make sure you do that. All right. If you talk to models, makeup artists, or even the production company that allowed you to come and shoot their show, guess what? Deliver on what you promised. All right. That means give them the photos in a timely manner, because this is all about marketing. Marketing for the designers, marketing for the makeup artists, the models themselves, as well as the production company. They don't want photos delivered 2 weeks later. It's too late. We're off to the next show. They're planning their next show. Models are off doing whatever they're doing. You want to get it while it's hot, right? So therefore, deliver the photos as fast as you can. Me personally, I've delivered photos within 24 hours, 48 hours. Why? Because time is money. They want to get it up there. And guess what? It only helps you in your brand that you flip these images over faster than the other photographers. And these models are now going to be tagging and crediting you all over the place before anybody else. Me, I like to make sure mine are out there first. So first person I always deliver the images to is to the production company, San Francisco Fashion Week or Art Hearts or whoever it is that I'm have the opportunity of shooting with. Guess what? They get those photos first to get clean images. They get high-res, clean images. That means no watermarks at all. As for the models, I always watermark the images like Getty Images does. I do the same thing, okay? I watermark my images for the models, for the hairstylists, for the makeup artists, and everything else. That is the way it goes. I don't make it dead center. I don't make it unusable, but I do have my watermark on there because that's just what I do. Because guess what? It's advertising for me. I want to make sure my brand is out there. Folks seem to enjoy a certain set of photos. I want to know it's mine. They didn't pay for it because I'm giving these all for free. I'm giving it all to the makeup artist, the hairstylist, the backstage crew, whoever it is that wants them, as well as the models themselves. But the caveat is it will be watermarked. Okay, that is just the name of the game. All right. Now, I don't send high-res images to them. They will get, let's say, medium size, let's say 2 megabyte photos or something like that. 1200 by 1200 pixels for those nerds out there in Lightroom. Another reason to flip these images over fast and to deliver as promised is because you're going to lose track of who's who, okay? Some shows don't give photographers a list and an order of which designer showcased. I wish they did. It would be amazing, as well as their Instagram handle. I would so love that. A lot of them don't. Another thing is you don't know the models. You may know them that night because you met them and you exchange Instagrams, but everybody's Instagram profiles does not have their real name on there. So therefore, 2 weeks later, you'll forget who the heck they are. You don't know who to tag who, okay? And then that's a loss of opportunity for you. So those are just a few fashion show photography mistakes I hope you will avoid. Of course, there's many more. If you've shot fashion shows before and you've seen some common mistakes, feel free to share them, post them down below. If you've never shot a fashion show, let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. I hope you found this helpful in any sort of way. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more, you already know, press that like, that share, that subscribe, and yes, hit the bell icon to get notifications for my upcoming content. I'm Robert Silver, and until next time, keep shooting and stay creative.